Okay. So the topic is me, CJD Goat with Mihawk versus Yatto, who has what's his name? Shanks. All right, let's start. Lean, you got the skin?
Let me DM you and see if this is the one that you're thinking of.
Yeah, it's the data book blue one where it's like, oh, I sit at the top of the
In,
world
in
and both.
name, in name and reality one.
Yeah, yeah, that one.
Alright.
Peak fiction.
Let me post the scans real quick. So where's Winterfell? There it is. I'm posting in scans.
All
Here
right.
is the non-translated scan. Let me pick up the translations for it.
And
Last.
there it is, Yatto. It says the world's strongest swordsman, who gazes down at his challengers from atop the throne. Since the dawn of the Great Pirate era, he has stood out amongst the greatest swordsmen and now reigns as the strongest in the world in both name and reality. So it's not just a title; it's also reality that he's the strongest and greatest swordsman.
Okay, and is it like a point? Take a point. Sorry for debate.
It's
But
fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's like it's since I started off with my point. My point being this scan just blatantly says Mihawk above Shanks. It's your job now to refute it.
so what I was gonna say is that what I was originally saying, and like talking before even, is that Shanks isn't necessarily a swordsman. By the title of anyone
He's
that knows
considered a
one,
swordsman by Oda.
what no, by the title, what I was saying, like in One Piece, anyone that knows a swordsman, Zoro is a swordsman, meaning that he doesn't use like necessarily to bang his hockey. He's gonna be depending on his sword skills. He's gonna be like a swordsman's scar on their back is the greatest like
What the
walks
hell are
like
you
type
talking
thing.
about?
A swordsman in One Piece is more than just like being a person. So like Zoro versus
I mean,
King
well,
Fight, for
are
example.
you trying to say? Are you trying to say?
Sword. So what I'm
Because you
saying is
mentioned
that a
hockey earlier.
sword. What I'm saying is swords meaning like an actual. Just you use sword, you're a swordsman. That's not necessarily.
That's not the point. Nigga, what's his name? Oda considers Shanks a swordsman, right? And then he considers Mihawk a swordsman. And according to this databook scan, it just says amongst all of them, Mihawk is the strongest. So I don't know what you're trying to do here. If yeah, this that thing in scans right now that Yami posted. This comes from a data book. It's a screenshot from a data book. Oda drew this, and here it is. Every swordsman is swordsman in One Piece. Shanks, Mihawk, all of
So again, I'll take a more literal way of saying it. What I was trying to say is that swordsman title itself. Shanks carries a sword. He's a swordsman, yeah, but that isn't what he leans on. His rank isn't going to be swordsmanship, so me being a better swordsman doesn't win him this debate.
Well, it's okay. It's not just being a better swordsman. It's called being a stronger swordsman. And if you're trying to say, well, anyone who wields a sword is a swordsman, that's just blatantly wrong. Like Zoro himself says in Alabasta,
No,
unless
what I
you
was
have
trying
like
to say,
skill with an
anyone that
actual.
builds a
Hold on,
sword
hold on, hold
is
on, hold on.
is you're sorry.
Yeah, Zoro himself just states you actually have to have skill to be a swordsman. So not anyone who picks up a sword is necessarily a swordsman, right? And then if you're trying to say, well, he relies on hockey, you realize since he's a swordsman, according to Oda, he just uses his hockey with his blade at the same time. So that don't really mean much if you're trying to say, well, he's a hockey man or trying to go down that type of route, you know?
I think that because I convoluted what I was trying to say, you misinterpreted what I was saying before. I wasn't trying to say anyone that uses the sword is a swordsman. I was trying to go for the direct opposite point to say someone can carry a sword and not all be. And
Okay,
Shanks
well,
is a swordsman.
that's still like
Yep.
I still already debunked that with what I said earlier. Like it doesn't matter if you believe that anyone who carry like not everyone who carries a sword is a swordsman. Oda himself, the guy who made the series, considers Shanks a swordsman. So I don't. It doesn't really matter what you believe. It's up to Oda here, and he's saying Shanks is a swordsman, and then Mihawk's just stronger than that, stronger and greater.
See, I don't. I guess I suppose I didn't understand the data book scan more like than the actual series itself, whereas just Mihawk won't fight Shanks only because he lost his arm. Not that Shanks is any at all weaker than him. And if we're going just from like a scaling standpoint, I don't think that Mihawk has any grounds to stand in the same way that Shanks does.
Okay, so I'm gonna ignore the first half of what you said because that disproved nothing. And then to address the second half, like the only reason this statement would be wrong in this case is if you can find a feat that directly contradicts what this data book is saying. Like if there's a feat where like Mihawk and Shanks are both at full power and they clash and the Mihawk dies, then sure, the statement gets debunked. But as far as I'm concerned, there is no feat like that.
Okay, then just the general theme that would be that in itself, Shanks is an emperor and Mihawk is a warlord of the sea, and they're different
Okay.
titles. Himself
Okay, that's one
the
that's
different way as a person, and him.
okay. So you realize Mihawk. Hold on, hold on. So you realize to be an emperor, you have to like rule the seas, and that's what Mihawk doesn't want to do. Mihawk doesn't have a pirate crew. He doesn't have a fleet. He doesn't have any of that. He just blatantly says as well. In what was it, 1068? He says to Buggy, or was it 1078? One of the recent chapters. He just says when he's talking to Buggy and Crocodile, "I don't want to be an emperor." So the fact that their titles are different don't mean much, and it doesn't matter if he. It's like, and if you're trying to say, well, emperors are viewed more than warlords, it's like whatever. But you have to realize at the same time, excuse me, you have to realize at the same time, just because you have a title in this case, unless you can back it up and say like, oh, everyone who's a warlord has to be weaker than a Yonko, like there's nothing really that changes. The most like, especially when you add in the context of Mihawk not wanting to be an emperor, him being a one man crew, all that.
I would take it to like account, for example, then for like even earlier chapters, like way back inside during the Murray 4 arc, when Shanks just appeared on the battlefield. Granted, you can say that his crew was there, and that may have had an outcome because crew is pretty high powered. He worked very well, but just his arrival to a battlefield that honestly Mihawk already had much impact on was a large part of completely
Okay.
sanctified powerhouses that were
Let me address that. Do you realize Mihawk's character is to want to test the limits? I mean, not. I mean, his character is like within his character, he just wants to go higher and higher and test his limits. Because before he became the world's greatest, at least before he got that title, he was not only known as the naval hunter, he also went around and defeated every other swordsman at the time. So if he pulls up to Marineford and says, yeah, I want to fight Whitebeard to see like what the difference between me and him is. And then Shanks pulls up, who, everyone in the world considers Mihawk to be greater than Shanks. Mihawk considers himself to be greater than Shanks. The data book says it. Like if he agreed to fight someone who he can test himself against, and then he sees someone who he already knows how he stacks up against, there's no reason to fight him. That's his reasoning right there. That's why he didn't fight Shanks.
to bring up what I brought earlier in saying that the reason he didn't fight Shanks is because he already used himself above him. What I was trying to say at the beginning of it is that anyone who's One Piece knows that Mihawk doesn't just put himself above Shanks. He's the idea of why they fight. Like originally all the way back, even when we see each other on the island and are drinking about Luffy's like bounty, he doesn't fight him because he's a lesser swordsman. He's pissed at Shanks because he baited him being a swordsman and lost his arm for the next generation. It's not that he's pissed about him being a lesser person.
Okay, I already addressed the not being a swordsman part. I don't know why you brought that up again. But like I said,
No,
even if you
it was
take away that one
that.
factor, well, hold on. Even if you take away the one factor of Mihawk not considering himself to be above Shanks, we're still arguing about the Marineford point. And like the other two things I mentioned were that not only does the world consider him greater, the data book considers him greater, and excuse me, there's a third one. On top of that, he already knows how he stacks up against Shanks. So it's like if he wants to challenge himself, he already knows how an outcome would go. It doesn't matter what he personally thinks if everything else is just telling us otherwise, that he's just greater.
So, from the standpoint of One Piece itself, just in people thinking that like the warlord is greater, that would most likely be just because, well, off probability of how people get information in One Piece. That would most likely be because Red Shanks isn't going around doing what the warlord is doing, and they're really only going to be
Dead
getting
ass,
their
bro.
information
Mihawk's
from like so
okay.
Mihawk is be doing more because he's like under
Well,
command
hold on.
of the
We
actual
straight up
like
know what he's
military.
doing. We know what he's doing. Though.
Yeah,
Want to know
he's
what
just
he's doing? When he
massacring
first
people
shows
because
up,
they're getting in his way. Like he's just doing too
yeah. Well,
much.
hold on. Let me tell you what he's doing. Let me tell you what he's doing. He in chapter 50 when he gets introduced, he says the reason why he hunted down Don Krieg is because he was bored, right? So he cuts up Don Krieg's ship, and then he fights Zoro, a no name at the time, and then he dips, and he's chilling at his island until Marineford, where he's required to show up, and then after after Marineford, he trains Zoro. I'm pretty sure nobody but Kuma knows where Zoro is at the time, so for all the world knows, Mihawk's doing nothing but chilling for 2 years, and he's only done something recently until just now. Do you think in all that time, like, do you think there's any evidence to suggest Shanks has done less than dead ass nothing, except for joining Crossguild like Mihawk has?
There is sort of evidence based off of Shanks' personality and the fact that only recently, after like I guess it's after Wano, so it was that recently, but he did only at that point get a real drive to go towards the One Piece. So up
Well, hold
until
on.
then, kind of was just like going around doing nothing.
Okay, so even if
And
he's
he's not
doing
really
nothing, you realize. Okay, so let's just say let's just go from the start again, right? Because I forgot to mention something. So he fights a no name and he beats up a no name, which is Don Krieg, and he fights Zoro, right? And then he does nothing until Marineford. And all that is really said about there is that he fights people on Marineford. But then Shanks has done definitely more because he stopped the war. What do you think is like more substantial? Like what do you think people are going to care about more? Someone participating in a war or someone stopping an entire war between an emperor and the navy?
so
So
actually, and what
he,
I was trying to say before and Shang showing up and stopping the war is the people that were participating it were or participating in it were already well above Mihawk in perspective, or like example admirals, they would be
you think
placed
admiral's
above
above Mihawk?
at that point in time from what we had seen. Yeah, the admiral was above Mihawk, unless you can like show a point that Mihawk has beaten any of the admiral's feats, like taking
Okay, well
island.
my scale already contains that. My scale is Mihawk above Shanks, and we see Shanks skills to Whitebeard, and Whitebeard, even while sick and half dead, is able to put up a good fight, if not a better fight, against Akainu. And then Shanks stops the war by literally intercepting Akainu's attack. And then that's literally how he stops the war because Akainu don't want to keep fighting anymore now that Shanks is here. Like, okay, so
So
if the scale is Mihawk above Shanks, then by extension, Mihawk would already have the ability to do all those things. I don't need to argue Mihawk versus Admirals with you.
if the scale and talk above Shanks, don't you have to like disprove why he didn't just fight Shanks when he pulled up to the place originally?
The hell?
Because
I
he
already
kind of
told you. I already told you. He already knows how
your
he
original
stacks up against
argument
Shanks.
at that
I
point was
already,
that he was
hey,
trying to like push himself and better
Yeah,
everything.
so it's like,
And I
okay, so
refuted that saying that he didn't.
the argument is, the argument is that Mihawk already knows how he stacks up against Shanks, so there's nothing for him to do here, right? He wanted to fight Whitebeard because he wants to see how he stacks up against the quote unquote world's strongest man, but he already knows how he stacks up against Yonko Shanks. So why would he want to fight him? If he's only here to see how strong one person is, and then he sees someone who's already fought, why would he fight that person who's already fought and he knows how he stacks up against? Tell me.
So off of that, when would have been the last time he had fought Shanks? And would he be saying that he stacks up against him more and above only because he's lost
I already said. Okay. So even if I can't tell you when the last time they fought, even if I can't tell you the last time they fought, I can still say at the end of the day, he signed up to fight Whitebeard, not Shanks. He didn't. I don't even think he cared about the war in general. All he did was want to fight Whitebeard. So if the war gets stopped by Shanks, like that's another reason why he wouldn't want to fight Shanks. He doesn't care about the war, and now that the war is over, what reason is there to be here? Since the person he wants to fight is dead. Like, come on, there's so many reasons why Mihawk wouldn't want to fight Shanks. It's not just because he's scared.
I didn't see a point where Mihawk scaled to Whitebeard necessarily, like personally.
Hell,
and saying just like off bring those scans, Mihawk, his first attack is blocked by one of Whitebeard like crew members. Most of the attacks and most of the things directed at Whitebeard are either blocked by like one move by Whitebeard or his crew intercepting it. So like,
let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there.
Really causes him pain, or like,
let me stop you right there. That has nothing to do with what I said. Can we talk about something that's relevant?
you were trying to scale him to Whitebeard. You said that Mihawk was above Aaron, which is scale.
Okay, hold on. My initial point is Mihawk over Shanks because of that statement. You said, well, Mihawk is weaker than the Admirals. Well, hold on. Damn, nigga, shut up. You said, well, Mihawk is weaker than the Admirals, and I'm pretty sure you believe Shanks is above the Admirals. So that's why I said Mihawk above Shanks over Whitebeard over Admirals. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if you say, oh, he doesn't scale. Like, bro, I'm sick of going circular with you. Can we just end this? I've already addressed every single way you've attacked this.
I don't see how you could address like really any point. You kind of circular when trying to say that Mihawk wasn't like your first
okay. Well, hold on.
Was Mihawk
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
Whitebeard relevant.
So okay, let me tell you something. I already
Mihawk Whitebeard were the only people with actual fighting interaction, where Mihawk is relevantly above Whitebeard. If Whitebeard scales to Shanks off of your own words, then where is the point that Mihawk is relevantly above him and he casually doing damage to it without caring? As you're like putting as it is.
Okay, so you believe I've addressed nothing? You believe I've addressed nothing?
No, not addressed nothing, but saying like I don't address where Mihawk scaling is above that. You haven't addressed.
Okay, so that's the entire point of this argument. So that's basically nothing. Can you please stop rambling? Okay, so if you don't believe I've scaled Mihawk anywhere above Shanks, right? This entire debate is Mihawk versus Shanks. If you don't think that, let's just end this debate. I think I've already said what needs to be said. I don't want to keep rambling. You fine with that?
I suppose.
All right. Is Wump still in VC?
That nigga left.
Gump, what do you, since you were the Since you were the judge, who do you think won?
That nigga Gump left too. That's crazy.
Actually, no, he's still here. He's just can I get the judge role? Okay.
Speaking of which, where the fuck did my judge girl go? What the
I don't know.
fuck?
I wasn't.
He got robbed from Yumonoichi.
Bro,
Slide
why
that
not? Why not? Sorry, not why not. Fuck. Otto. We can debate tomorrow, bro. I need to do homework now. I spent too much time doing.
Gotcha.
Can I save the debate?
Yeah, save it.